you're living a life of gratitude. I don't know whether you noticed this about yourself or not, but you met me, you spoke about the session, we spoke about the questions that we wrote, I heard you talking to other people, thanking them for being here. So there was a thank you in every sentence that you were speaking. My first question to you would have been that why alive? Why this book? But I think you answered that in your talk. What I understand is that it requires a lot of consciousness and mindfulness to live the life that you have been talking about. You know, when you're talking about living a life of moderation, it requires a lot of mindfulness. It doesn't come easy. What has worked for you to bring in the consciousness in the way you live, especially after the challenges that you have faced?
Just staying calm, pausing, unhurried. How many of us just pause and take a deep breath? Nice. Let's just do this little exercise right now. 3, 4, breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, breathe in. 2, 3, 4, breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. Relax. Slowly open your eyes.
Lovely. Rachna, for this book, you have interviewed about 100 people. Yeah? And these are between the ages of 22 to 90-year-olds, right? I've been interviewing almost 3 to 4 people in a week, and for healthcare, for well-being. And one thing that I have seen is that we are living in a world today where we are heading towards a time when we are going to be living longer. We are already living longer, but we are going to be even living longer life than what we are doing so today. But living longer does not necessarily mean living healthier. You know, so living longer can be a blessing, but it could also be a curse, right? When you spoke to these 100 people, what were the kind of takeaways that you had which became a topic that you wanted to write about? What emerged from these conversations, and how did you actually back these conversations with the scientific facts so that you were sure of what you were writing in this book?
It was a lot of research. Believe me, the entire back and forth, and if you see my email inboxes for interviews and then the permissions I had to get for HarperCollins in writing, saying that yes, I could use these people and everything, it was a lot of hard work. The basis for all this was just starting to have that conversation. The moment you start asking people questions about how they are living and why they are healthy, and you know, I had the advantage that I knew many of them, so I understood their lifestyle. Stephen P. Cohen of the Negotiation Skills Company is in this book. He's literally been my friend for 22, 23 years and I've never met him. Because in one of my entrepreneurial ventures in 2000, he was writing a column for .com. And I have seen his journey from, being this big business leader in the US, he lives in Boston, and coming down to leading a retired life. Similarly with Mr. Arkadas, Mr. Ronnie Das, I've seen it at close quarters, how the life, his life is, what are the tenets. They all defy what your wellness gurus say. Don't drink alcohol, don't eat non-veg, go exercise for 1 hour, go for a walk every day, don't live alone. They are doing all that. And yet they are in literally the prime of their health because their mind and body are in sync with each other. So the biggest learning for me when I interviewed all these was we have 4 rooms inside us. The physical room, how we eat, how we do our exercise, that's 25%. Most people stay there. That's how disease comes. Because you're only interested in the physical, or what we call, we use these terms in yoga also for this. You are staying in the physical part of your room, you are not going inside. The second room is your emotional room. The emotional room is what your thoughts are. Now your thoughts, if you have a negative thought, you are going to have a physical reaction. There's going to be acid release in your stomach. Right? So it's impacting what you eat, it's reducing nutrient absorption. So many people have acidity, bloating, gut issues. Then there is the mental room. So if that negative thought pattern has happened, in the mental room there are negative mental thoughts, right? And then fourth is the spiritual room, which has nothing to do with religion. It is to do with how far or inward will you go to self-nurture, which is missing in all of us. It was missing in me when I was struck by my disease. We were all living in the gross body, that's the yogic term that we use, in the physical room, that's the gross body room. The subtle body, which is these three other rooms, are missing in us. These people are all in touch with themselves. They are not living in a false bravado, they are not living in being somebody else while having a conflict in their own body or mind. They accept themselves as who they are, and then it becomes easier to just flow with doing what you feel like doing, little in moderation. Then moderation comes from here. It will get externally manifested.
So Rachna, another thing that I've observed listening to a lot of authors who've been on the stage since morning is that the most successful authors or most relatable writings are the ones which emerge from your own life experiences, right? And you have yourself been an autoimmune warrior. And what are some of the top methodologies that you have mentioned in your book that have worked for you and also for the people who have worked with you, right? Another question that I want to bridge while I'm asking you this is that what is the importance of mental well-being, and can one work without the other, the physical well-being and the mental well-being, or both have to coexist?
So I'll answer the second one first. Nothing works if your mental well-being is not there. Every single bone and joint in my body, as per X-rays, is damaged, deformed. I'm not supposed to be walking. We have an orthopedic surgeon who works with us on our non-profit efforts in Bombay, and he just laughs when he looks at my X-rays. If I had succumbed to the prognosis and the diagnosis of the doctor, it would have been out of succumbing and giving up my life for another professional opinion. A doctor is a professional. He will not write my fate. That, and I think Paul also spoke about, that fear which suppresses you is what makes us not live our true life and be alive every day. So, mental well-being, and mental well-being is governed by how much time you spend with yourself, and the little breathing exercise I did, it has been clinically proven to repair you at the DNA level. So your mind is not sitting outside here. This is my mind, and your mind is not your brain, it's not an organ. So it's here, it's your being. So if you are in sync with your being and you are self-nurturing here, then you will wake up fresher and say, let me go for a walk. Then I go to work and I'll be in a good mood at work, and my output will be better and my brain will be sharper. And then when my brain is sharper and my output is good, that is how I will fulfill my dreams every day. I'll enjoy a good day at work. I'll not scowl at my spouse. I'll not yell at my kids. It all emanates from here.
But how do you define mental well-being? And you spoke about that you have to be in line with your being.
Yeah.
How do you define that being? Because when you read about it, when people tell you, it's very tough for someone to contextualize as to what are they talking of.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because initially when I was trying to heal myself in 2007, and I had this amazing yoga teacher who used to say, "Ma'am, dhyan karo, dhyan." And I've always been a restless person since childhood. My childhood best friend is sitting over there. We've been friends since class 4. She will vouch for it. I've always been this restless person, so I used to be sitting and in my mind, and I used to be doing my breathing exercises and thinking that slide needs to be fixed. You know, that presentation is over there. What will I wear? Oh God, that top is too low. Did I order the groceries? That's not meditation, right? So it took a lot of hard work to get there. Use the techniques in the book to sit down. We cannot, it's impossible for us to empty our mind. So this whole counting thing of breathing. Outside I had a conversation with some beautiful women who were talking about sleep problems. All of us have sleep problems. You go to sleep, then you wake up and you toss and turn because you have 10 things in your mind. Or you can't just go to sleep, but you need that 8 hours of sleep for the body and brain to be calm and functioning. All this is linked to taking tiny steps. What is the first step? Make time for yourself. 5 times a day do these breathing exercises. On waking up, just before lunch, in the evening, if you can before dinner, otherwise 4 times a day, and definitely before sleeping. The moment you do it before sleeping, your sleep quality will improve. That's the first step to emptying your mind. In a week's time, you will start feeling calmer. When you start feeling calmer, you will be ready for making physical changes, food changes. Cut out the saturated fat. Eat more unsaturated fat. Have more vegetables. They're very simple steps. I'm not saying stop alcohol, I'm not saying stop non-veg. I'm saying whatever you are eating in your plate, 50% keep vegetables. Have a flaxseed oil or an extra virgin olive oil or fish oil. The unsaturated good fat has the highest impact on calming your mind. These steps every single person can do. 2 more weeks of doing this and you will realize that you are calmer and ready to sit down and just do things.
Well, Rachna, you spoke about sleep.
Yes.
And this is something that just comes to my mind because most of us are getting information on mental well-being from Instagram, aren't we? Right? Now,
then you will follow my RachnaRestores also.
The thing is that you have some spiritual masters talking about that, there's not the quantity of sleep, it has to be the quality of sleep. And then you have some people talking about minimum 8 hours of sleep. सिर्फ मेरे को confusion है या आप में से कईयों को confusion है, ठीक है? So can you help us get over this?
Both are important. Yes. When the spiritual masters talk about it, the amount of sleep in terms of the quality of sleep, for all of us, we are all common people. To get to that level in this lifetime, if we start today, it will take a few decades, right? From here to a few decades, that journey has to be that consciously you got to do 8 hours of sleep. How do you get to 8 hours of sleep is again coming back to calming breathing exercises. Please remember there are different kinds of pranayams. Don't do every pranayama because some of them can really damage you. Like a kapalbhati and all that, they can cause extreme hypertension or a stroke in patients. So do calming breath works to be able to have a better quality of sleep. Initially you will have 4 hours. Then as you change any habit, when you shift into a new house, you adjust. 3-4 weeks later you own that house, you accept it as your house. Similarly with any habit that you change, no matter what, if this is my breathing exercise time, nobody disturbs me, I am alone with me. Inculcate it, do it for 10 minutes a day. Your family will understand. Believe me, your bosses will understand because they will see that your output is increasing and everybody is nicer than you imagine them to be.
Yeah, I think it's important. The bosses need to understand both at work and at home. The importance of taking time for self.
Yeah, so there are a lot,
and it's not just at work, even at home. I think the boss needs to understand.
So I treat a lot of top management.
One thing is that I don't email anybody in the night thanks to Rachna, I don't go. I'm fast asleep mostly.
That's why we always ensure that her column does not go out. Her column needs to be. So, Rachna, you know, a lot of this information, I mean, weight बढ़ गया है, weight कम करना है, we need to lose weight. We all know the information. But you know, just knowing the information does not help you execute it and follow it and act on it. Lifestyle changes need to be a part of your altered lifestyle. They have to be, you have to become habitual of living that lifestyle. Have you explained some methodologies in this book, Alive, about how to execute these things without giving up?
Yes.
And if yes, can you share a few of them?
Yes. So the first thing is that the subtitle of this book says lifestyle changes to age-proof your mind and body. Everything comes from aging. Brain fog comes from aging, forgetfulness, dementia, aches and pains in the body, diabetes, hypertension, heart issues, cancer. I'm also a cancer metastasis expert. I have a lot of cancer patients. Everything comes from the accelerated aging and oxidative stress. The techniques here, first of all, there are breathing exercises. There is a gentle yoga schedule. There is a step-by-step process for how you can reach there. Like you rightly said, you can't just wake up one day and do it. So there's step one of, okay, only need this. It's called the elimination phase. Then you graduate where you add a few more things. So it is all explained in this book in a very simple manner so that you can incorporate this in your daily life, and also examples by interviews of all these beautiful people which will inspire you to stay on the path.
You know, since you've spoken about oncology and cancer, we're having a oncology summit on the 10th of February, and I wish for you to come and join us and share your experience with people. Rachna, you know, I have one question. Some of us have been wanting to write books. I've been one of them. I have one book which is half written, and I have a second book which I recently started on oncology. But the first thing that comes to mind is कि छापेगा कौन? Who's going to publish it? You've written 4 books. You are penning down your 5th book, and your books have been published by reputed publishing houses. What do these publishing houses look for in a writer for them to sign up?
Okay, so the first thing they look for is your conviction, even beyond this. My first book was published by BW Books, thanks to Anurag. I will always forever be grateful to him for making sure that he kickstarted my author journey with that book. But why did he stand up and say, I will do it or we will do it? Is because he experienced the healing. So when somebody out there is seeing your credibility and your work, they will have more faith. When I was writing my first book, I also reached out to Harsh Mariwala, Chairman Marico. I did not know him at all. I just sent him an email and I said, I just need some advice on how to organize my book, because he had just helped do it, you know, for a management book. Within half an hour, he responded back saying, come to my office. 2 days later, you know, I live in Bandra, his office was in Bandra. There I was sitting with him, and then, you know, ultimately he went and launched my first book. You know, when we all launched it at Hospital BKC. Make sure that if you have something to say over here and you're struggling, reach out to people. Reach out to thought leaders. You will be surprised how much they will give back to you and help you with that struggle. Then your structure should be there. If you have the structure of the book, which basically is what you want to say, put to, in a format which is more legible for people to read, then each chapter flows. And finally it is research. With every book of mine, I've had to now cut down. When I wrote my cancer book, you know, my second book was You Can Beat Cancer. I had written 1 lakh words, and my publisher, Jaco, like, it was almost like they vomited on me and said, what? So you've got to draw the balance. I said, okay. I have so much to say, and I have so many cases which are, you know, about hope for cancer versus, you know, pessimism of cancer. But I need to be sensitive to all these things. So everyone has a writer in them. Everyone has a story to tell. But you've got to channelize. So first do your breathing, then do the structure, then reach out to all these thought leaders, and it will flow.
I couldn't have agreed more with you on this because, as Paul said, that you need to envision, and once you envision and you have the conviction and the faith, I think the universe puts in front of you all the kind people who will help you turn your vision into a reality. With that, thank you so much, Rachna, for sharing the stage. Any questions anyone has?
Thank you, everyone. I would just, before I take the questions, I would just like to read this. I lost my mom when this book went into publishing. When I was going to submit the manuscript, and a year before that, in November 2019, I wanted to do the 200 RYT yoga teacher program, and she just turned around and she said, "What is wrong with you? Everything is going well. You know that you have deformities. You know that you're going to, suffer like that, and your practice is doing so well. Don't do this." So I said, "Mom, I just need to get it out of my system." And I finished the 200-hour yoga teacher training program and then wrote this book, and she passed away. So this book is dedicated to her. And I'll just read out the dedication. They say I look like you, I wish you could see. We discuss the song you love each night, and I smell your fragrance next to me. Wherever you are, Mama, I know you're smiling down at me, because when I look into the mirror, I see you in me.
But not everybody gets that opportunity. So how do we break the clutter? First of all, how do we reach out to the right set of people? Because not everybody has access to the internet. Not everybody has access to the modern channels of communication. So when you say you go within, the only way within is the only way probably. How do you self-educate yourself? Especially let us know about mental conditioning, because there is a lot of mental conditioning these days. Yeah, that's quite a long question. I'm sorry, but you can just try to wrap it up. Thank you.
There are very, very small habits that you make. I completely agree with you. There is so much clutter. You're in an open office. There's so much of this buzz happening. Even some of the breathing exercise we did becomes impossible to do. Every office has either a space where you can go and sit for 2 minutes, or a terrace where you can go. Every home which may be full of a lot of family members also has a staircase, also has some kind of a place. Put an alarm on your phone. 11:30 a.m. for 5 minutes, 4 p.m. for 5 minutes, just before dinner. And when you hit the bed and the lights are off and nobody sees you. And just do the breathing, because the moment you start decluttering your mind, that is when you reach out to yourself. That is when the answers will come. Who you want to reach out to is not going to be clear. You are going to be stuck. So if you are stuck, the only clarity that you can bring is with the breathing. So do this. It's like 5 minutes in totality through the day. You can spare that for yourself. Nobody's going to miss you for those 5 minutes. And if they do, you can just say, "I went to the washroom."
What kind of behavior we should do with a patient, especially cancer patients? Shall we do the behavior like they are like us, or shall we sympathize with them? Actually, sometimes I feel like that कि हम उनको ऐसा ना लगे कि हम उनके साथ sympathize कर रहे हैं या हमारे जैसे ही हैं. तो वो बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आता है माइंड में, पेशेंट्स के साथ कैसा बिहेव किया.
So you are a caregiver or a doctor?
I'm teacher.
You are a teacher?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know somebody struggling with cancer?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that you have to remember is that it is a very unique journey that they are going through, and there is no way that you can understand it. So don't tell them that you understand it. If not just cancer, if anyone in distress, anyone in any kind of issue says, "I am going through this," Don't say I understand, because you don't. I don't. Right? You can just be there for them and say, tell me, how you're feeling. Would you like some help? Give them that chance, give them that space, and just spend time with them without their disease. Unfortunately, for a lot of cancer patients, the disease makes them who they are. Why? They are human beings and that's just a disease. And I have learned after treating cancer patients that cancer is a disease like a heart disease, like a chronic kidney disease. Believe me, you can overcome it as well. Or not overcome it, people die of heart attacks much more than they die of cancer. It is just the fear of cancer. So treat them like normal human beings because they are also looking for a little moment of joy. Let's go out for a green tea. Let's just, okay, I found this really funny book. So engage their mind in activities which are outside of their medical.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachna.